Okay, I think it's 10:05. We can let's start. I'm not sure whether anybody else is joining. Yep. So for today, whoever wasn't here before, Larry mentioned that he's gonna be unable to join today. Um, Eric, do we have any update for the infrastructure side?
Yeah, I am currently in the hopefully final testing of the updated build images for Ubuntu 22.04 and 24.04.
Okay. So now, any updates from the GitHub Action perspective?
No, not right now.
So I guess these images will be ready by next week, or how long do you expect this to kind of complete this testing?
Let's see. So I'm working through tests of the various on-ramp workflows right now. I did get some failures on the quick start amp test, so I need to look into those. Um, but I'm hoping to get these done today or tomorrow,
Okay.
assuming I don't run into any major problems, which at this point I don't think I will. Um,
Okay.
yeah, then they should be done very soon. So I've got updates to our Packer files and updates to the actual pipelines. Um, that'll be pushed once that work's done, and then I can ping folks on Slack to go take a look.
And how simplified are these images compared to the ones that were that were created before? Are kind of way less complex? Are
I wouldn't say that they're necessarily simplified or less complex. It's just that everything is being done in code now, so it can be viewed and recreated and edited without that sort of layer of obscurity where the current images are just sort of what they are.
Mhm.
And
Black
you can
boxes?
go in and edit it and save a new version of it, but then there's really no record of what changes were there or how things are made. So the big difference is that you can pretty much trace this from going from a standard, pretty empty Ubuntu image to everything that's getting installed and how it gets to its final state.
And are these kind of getting pushed to some kind of repository to see the source, or how does it work?
Yes. Yeah, I can post a link in the chat to that.
Okay, cool. Any other updates from the infrastructure side?
No, I think that's about it.
One general question from my side, in the sense that you helped me recreating the token for the ONF bot.
Hmm.
Does that token have any kind of like lifetime or um, expiration
I
in time,
I
or is just in?
believe the new one was created without an expiration date.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So from the SD core side, um, and related to the GitHub Actions, especially to the consolidation of the GitHub Actions, the Gulson from the Canonical team open a PR where I believe Gislan, Eric, and myself kind of added some comments. I believe that PR is kind of, she addressed those comments. So hopefully we can merge those soon. She also has a PR for the AMF, where we can actually validate those consolidation of GitHub actions. So that needs to be kind of like fully reviewed. Jay, if you have time, you can feel free to kind of take a closer look into those. But the idea is to kind of simplify these kind of repetitive actions that are basically on the same, every single repository that we have on the OMIC organization, on the OMIC project organization has the same repository. So instead of kind of having the same thing repeated multiple times, we have a centralized place, which is this a GitHub repository where we're goes and is consolidating all these actions. So from the different repositories, we will just call the action itself to run a test. So the PR is under review currently, and hopefully we can merge that soon if there is no further comments or changes required by the by the reviewers.
Gabriel, did you say you have already raised the PR or you are going to raise?
No, Gulsom already raised a PR. So if you go to the PR number one, so if you go to this repository,
okay,
there is a PR already open there, which is
okay,
PR number
sure.
one. And let me just go back here.
So idea is like at org level, if you are having the GitHub action, they can be like used by any sub project.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So and also, so she has here. I don't know if you can see my screen. So this is the first PR for that GitHub action, and then you can use also this the AMF PR 374 that she also has open for now as a draft, where you can actually use use to validate the centralized actions. And yeah, the main kind of reason for this was that if there is a version update for any of these GitHub actions, since we have around like 20 repositories, basically the same update gets triggered like 20 times. It's 20 reviews for something that it shouldn't be only one. So the idea of consolidating these makes things easier and to manage those kind of updates.
I see it's like open 3 months back.
Yes, so we started working with Wolves on this by the end of last year. So kind of like somewhere between December 24th and the 31st, something about that. I remember we had a call to discuss about this. The canonical team is also is interested in completing these end-to-end tests, such that as part of the GitHub actions we can validate any PR can be tested on an end-to-end perspective. Let's say using G.vsim, so there is no need to do any manual work. So that's how kind of everything started, and that may help to for us to make things easier for these to add these additional any additional GitHub actions. Ghislain, if you had any other input, please feel free to jump in.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, so that's from the kind of consolidation of GitHub actions. The other part that I noticed, I think, I don't remember if it was yesterday or Friday. I think it was yesterday. So we were running some different tests with the web UI, especially Canonical team has been making lots of improvements to the web UI components. And I wanted to kind of see whether we can use those later changes into on-ramp. And when I was going through the different images that get published on the OMIC project organization in Docker Hub, I noticed this message from, probably it's a little bit small, but this message from Docker Hub saying that we have lots of images that are kind of old. And they were kind of recommending to archive them if we're not using them. So I wanted to kind of bring that up to the TST to see what the thoughts are on this. Where it's where was it? It's interesting. I don't see the same view again. But I believe I closed that one. But The main point is that basically just that's kind of what I captured here. So they were kind of recommending saying, you have images that are very old, like from 2 years old all the way to 5 year old that they saw the oldest. So and they were kind of recommending from security perspective, if those are outdated, just kind of like try to archive them. And I wanted to see what the thoughts of the TST are regarding this. Whether we need to make any action on that or just let it be.
So, Gabriel, what does archive means for user?
I have no
Is it going to
idea.
be slow download? That should be fine if somebody gets like slower download if it goes to the archive uh, versus something is active.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know why I can get the same screen as we got yesterday. So we have the 53 repositories. That's what I was kind of like mentioning
I think I
here.
quickly did search. It says that read only and indicating that no longer activity maintained and preventing the use of outdated or unsupported images.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
And that kind of would be aligned to what we are doing with the 4G network, right? From the source code
yeah,
perspective. So I was wondering whether you guys, there's any opinion, any kind of suggestion on this? Should we just archive them? And
like thing is that yeah, I think at least I agree that it should be done. But is this something we get any flow in the Docker Hub, which we can set some policies and it can happen automatically from now onward?
I can take
Or
a look into that. I mean,
yeah, because this one odd activity, otherwise we'll have to keep revisiting it. Yeah, we can set some age or maybe some policy if it is a possible, right? To archive it periodically. It also means that we have to come up with the saying that, oh, we don't support anything which is 2 release old or maybe more than 1 year old, and then that with that conclusion we can move this to the archive.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look into this. Yeah, what else? Anything else from the any other updates from the SD core perspective?
Do you know, like, if iOS MSN folks have forked our repository or how they're maintaining? There were a couple of queries around the IMS support in the community, and
Hmm.
I do remember that iOS MSN guys were planning to do that support. So
Yes.
I mean, like
So
either if we can pull the changes or if we know exactly where to point to people, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I know. Like, I think probably several months ago, I took a quick look into that because they were kind of the iOS team was requesting for support, but they had their own images. So I started kind of digging a little bit more, and it looks like they have their own fork or the repositories of our repositories. Um, that's what I can tell you. I mean, besides that, I don't know. I mean, at some point in the past, they used to kind of bring PRs for
Yeah,
several
now also
blocks
they
that we
bring.
find.
Now also they bring. So like I remember yes, the last week I had merged one of the change, maybe 10 days back.
Hmm.
So so if there's any change in the base code, they do raise the pull request.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. Anyways, I think maybe we can ask over the Slack if they
Hmm.
have any
Yeah.
intention to bring those changes at some point in time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But I remember they fork our repositories, and from there, I don't know that much besides that. Anything else? No.
That's
Okay.
on the canonical side, still working on some PRs for Web Console, Web UI, but you've
Hmm.
already mentioned that, so nothing more
Yeah.
to add there.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, well, moving on to the SD-RAN itself, something that I mentioned in last TST meeting, um, that is, we're working on a project where the government is interested in using SRS run along with the Aether SD run project. So the project itself, the core of the project is the SD core, and you're relying on ramp for the project itself. And as part of the project was if SRS run supports a rig, we were also planning to deploy the SD run rig, right? But after several tests, we realized that the SD-RAN, the rig, requires this E2 connection update to be able to to connect. So we talked to the SRS-RAN developers, and they proposed two solutions. One is for them to implement the E2 connection update failure message, and the other one was for the SD-RAN rig to support working without having the EC2 connection update. Last Friday, we ran a test, and a SRS run team have implemented this E2 connection update failure. And we run another test with the rig, and the rig is basically requiring this E2 connection update. So I have talked to Wujun, checking with this with him. So he's supposed to have a meeting with the the rig development team, or the engineering team, as he called it, and they were looking for a solution for this thing. So on Thursday, the government told the team from the government told us that if we cannot use the SD-RAN, they want us to use another rig. So, for example, the OSC rig. And that's something that I mentioned to Wujun. So this morning he mentioned that he found the possible way where to address this issue. So we need to sync up on that to see how we can actually start running some tests on that. But this will be something, especially if we want to use the SD-RAN in the project, and there is additional future work that the government plans to do with the rig. They are interested in integrating these X apps from this website like 5GSec. They say that there is lots of X apps that they are interested to test or to validate or make them work with the whole setup that we have. So it will be good to, for future, it will be good to see if we can make the SD-RAN rig actually work with this without having to request the EC2 connection updates, such that we, future projects, we can actually also include the SD-RAN as part of the whole solution. Hopefully with this solution that Wujun is proposing, we can address this. And we can address this soon. So, we have this door open for future possible projects. So that's at least what I have on SD-RAN. I don't know if Wujun or somebody from the SD-RAN team is here for any additional updates. If not, do we have anyone from the ARA team? Any updates? Yeah, no updates. Then from the on-ramp perspective, we also haven't done any updates. I don't know. There is a couple PRs that are open, and I hope Bilal has a chance to validate them. And besides that, there is nothing else that I know of. Any other comments, questions? If no more comments, questions, Timon?
No, I was just unmuting to say goodbye. I figured we were wrapping up. Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the meeting today, everyone. Bye.